Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Walker with Maverick Multimedia, and this is Freedom Convoy 2022 live coverage from Ottawa, and I'm here with my co-host,
Brendan Kennedy, the host of the Flow of Discourse podcast. Good to be here with you again tonight. Rick, how are you?
I'm hanging in there, but man, what a day, what a week, what a month. And as you can see from the live streams that we're bringing to you tonight, the standoff between police and peaceful demonstrators in Ottawa continues tonight, where I think it's safe to say Canada, at least the Canada as we have known it, is falling.
That's absolutely right. Things have been absolutely crazy. It appears that the police throughout the day have been kettling people to a singular location throughout the day. There's been various incidents that have happened around that. I still can't get over the images of the things that we had seen and talked about last night, and these images are powerful. We have to remember, I've known people who don't take political stances on anything who have seen these horrendous things happening in Ottawa, and they're talking out loud about them on their Facebook, saying this is not right. You don't get to do this to people.
This is unprecedented on every level. And that's a word that is thrown around a lot, unprecedented. But in this case, it's true. The country has never been through anything like this before. And this is all Justin Trudeau's doing. This did not have to happen. Not in this way. This protest was entirely peaceful. But what has really been going on is a propaganda campaign, outright lies from the government and the legacy media, the improper, illegal use of the Emergencies Act, which is the Modern War Measures Act, so that Justin Trudeau could declare war on his own people and target specific groups of people that he views as political opponents. He's using tonight the Modern War Measures Act to target his political opponents for a political tool. And he's turned police into his own personal paramilitary force to go down there and clear out peaceful protesters who over the past month have been gathered, singing the national anthem, dancing, hugging, giving out free food, including free food to the homeless, while being accused of racism, of being Nazis, fascists, and smeared with every insult the Prime Minister could come up with, demonized, dehumanized, and now they've brought in these troops. All the time this has been going on, Trudeau has refused to even come down to meet with or speak with any of these protesters. And the result is this: instead of speaking, Trudeau has gone straight to full-on aggression. And we have seen in the past 2 days, yesterday and today, yesterday we saw 2 people trampled by police horses. Mm-hmm. We've seen people beaten with batons. We've seen war veterans with injuries sustained in battle and now disabled or partially disabled, beaten by police. We've seen women beaten by police.
Pepper sprayed in the face by
We've
police.
we've seen independent journalists beaten, pepper sprayed, and arrested.
And a quick update on that. So, True North journalist Andrew Lawton, who did get pepper sprayed, True North organization, I guess the head of that news source is Candice Malcolm, and she has just announced on Twitter today that they'll be launching legal lawsuits against the Trudeau government and the incidents that have occurred with that. Her words, particularly on Twitter today, were "See you in court, Justin Trudeau." So I thought that was good that they're fighting back, because we need this journalistic integrity to continue, because all throughout this, you see the press are allowed to hang out behind the police line and get the footage.
The legacy media is allowed to hang out with the cops. The cops give special treatment now to specific mainstream media that they prefer, that they feel will give them the kind of coverage that they want. Independent journalists are on the other side. They're with the people. And that just further illustrates the divide here and the disconnect between the government and the people. Here's the truth. Here's the truth. Democracy has not only been Canada's greatest strength, it is also its greatest weakness. And what has happened is our government has been captured through the democratic process by a government, by a political party that does not have the best interests of its people in mind or at heart. In fact, I would go so far as to say the government is acting against its people, and it's quite clear and on full display here. It has been for the past month, and especially in the past 2 days. It has gone so far now that it's clear that the Canadian government, run by Justin Trudeau, and Trudeau himself, is focused not on helping Canada or Canadians. He has a global agenda, and he is attacking and has gone to war with his own people. And he has basically captured our police services and our military and has turned them against the people. Make no mistake, that is what is going on here tonight. The government has gone to war against its own people. It's a heavily one-sided civil war, and it is playing out tonight in the nation's capital. That is why Canada is falling, because democracy, as we have known it, no longer exists as of today. Our free society, as we have known it, no longer exists as of tonight, because your rights have been stripped away by Justin Trudeau. The Canadian public needs to understand that by using the Emergencies Act, Justin Trudeau can do pretty much anything he wants. The Charter of Rights and Freedoms has essentially been suspended. That piece of legislation, that act, is meant to be used only in the most extreme of circumstances. When a foreign government sends its army to invade us, when we go to war, which is why the War Measures Act was used in World Wars I and II. And when Justin Trudeau's father used it during the FLQ crisis in 1970, its use was extremely controversial and was probably even then improper, even though there had been over 200 terrorist bombings initiated and executed by the FLQ. And 6 people had been murdered, and then finally 2 prominent political figures were kidnapped and murdered. So it took all of that for him to invoke it, and even then it was controversial. Justin Trudeau is using this to target, cancel, and prosecute, abuse, and even beat physically his political opponents. He's doing it tonight. He's using your tax dollars and your police service to do it. Your police services, which he has turned into paramilitary troops. And they're using those troops tonight to push back these protesters who have been protesting there lawfully. That's the truth. The government is acting unlawfully. The government is acting unlawfully because there is a right for Canadians to protest peacefully, and they have been protesting peacefully. It may have been somewhat disruptive for some of the residents in Ottawa, but it was a peaceful, lawful protest, even as defined in a court ruling where the judge gave the municipality an injunction to prohibit honking for 10 days.
And you're absolutely right when you say Justin Trudeau could do basically whatever he wants. So this is even before the War Measures Act. He's always gone ahead and done whatever he's wanted. He probably had the most, what would be a way of saying it, the least impeded minority government ever seen in Canadian politics. And ever since he's been elected, he just always does what he wants. And it doesn't matter what the outcome is for him, just like SNC-Lavalin and the Jody Wilson-Raybould scandal. Every scandal he's been involved in, there's so many. Why do people keep voting for him? Like, it just makes you scratch your head.
Well, we can get into that more later. There are, I think, some very clear reasons why. But first, let's go to Carla Olson, who just sent in this video, and get her take on what's been going on down there in Ottawa.
I'm out again. I had to go warm up, charged up my phone, took a break. It's been a rough day, rough 24 hours, really. I mean, people are still here. And exactly like I had anticipated, the people aren't leaving. They're still standing off with the police. I am at the corner of Albert Street and Bank Street, and in front of me are a couple of police officers. Well, that's a paramedic, I guess, in green with an OPP. Police officers, still people walking up. Take a look at this. So it's still a standoff. I don't know what the police have been doing since I've been gone. I'm sure more pushing. Hey. Yes, we have. They're still cheering. People. The wind tower is still here. More police just around, blocking. No cars. No cars are able to travel at all down here at this point.
Over 100 roadblocks
So
set up by
I think it's safe
police.
to assume that the protest has remained peaceful. There's still children here. And it looks like the police still have secured Wellington Street all the way across. But there's still a really good show of people. I don't know what's happening at other side streets. Like I said, I'm just coming up Bank Street.
Got one.
Okay, you enjoy your day.
Thank you.
I just want to make note that Big Law is not impressed that we're out again. But he no longer allows me to go alone. What do you think? It's a whole lot different from what it's been at the stage, the dancing parties. Now it's just simply people who are here, who are holding the line. I'm sorry.
Freedom! Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of people deep.
Okay. All right. That's that. good enough. The man with the gun's that way. We're going to stay right here. You're still walking.
Negative 11 Celsius in Ottawa tonight.
Face.
Shame on you! 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 And you sure that's true?
The people are pretty deep. I can't even see the police officers. It's cool. Let's kind of work through this crowd a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's a gross place.
Get up here, Carla. 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 Get up here.
No, I can't. I'm gonna just a little bit, just a little.
So, Brendan, as we can see, a lot of people still down there tonight. Amazing to me that the people have held on this long in the face of this massive police buildup where thousands, literally thousands of police officers in riot gear have come down there. And we're assuming they're all police officers. We noticed yesterday that some officers were down there with no insignia and no names on their uniforms, which was very concerning to me. No insignia, no names, so that some of these officers or paramilitary troops cannot be identified because they're wearing coverings over their faces because with cold weather gear, and they don't have their names on their uniforms. And we've seen heavy use of brute force where the officers have been using their batons to strike people, aggressively push people, hit people in a very aggressive manner, do this and hit people with their batons. We've seen a woman pulled back through police lines and beaten with the butt end of a rifle.
I have footage queued up here of the police kicking somebody while they're on the ground.
And please keep in mind, folks, that until yesterday, when this action by police began, there had been zero violence, none, no violence, none whatsoever, zero.
So we were at
The protesters had been completely peaceful.
earlier. That was one standoff, and now
Remember how this all started, Brendan, with people waving flags, the truckers driving down the highways in a massive convoys from all directions, people waving from the side of the highways by the thousands and even millions across the country, lining overpasses to cheer them on. Then they get to the nation's capital. They want to speak with the Prime Minister, and Justin Trudeau refuses to even talk to them, instead fleeing to go hide, acting like he's threatened that he's going to be killed.
Oddly enough, so in the emergency debate that has been going on in Parliament this past week, Conservative members of the House had accused Justin Trudeau of hiding, and Elizabeth May of the Green Party stands up and goes, "Let the record show that Justin Trudeau had COVID and he was not supposed to go around people." And somebody put it right back in her face and said, "There's this thing called Zoom. We use it all the time." He didn't have to hide because clearly he was working. He was still doing meetings. He'll talk to anybody who fits his agenda, and he really doesn't care. He really doesn't care about anything that anyone has to say that doesn't fit that agenda.
You know, in the early days of my career as a broadcast journalist, an old news director of mine said there was an interview that I did with a politician, and the politician accused another politician of lying. And the news director said we shouldn't use the clip of that person accusing the other person of lying. Lying is a word that is pretty strong, and it sort of diminishes the argument, and it's just not a good word for us to use. And you don't want to use that lightly. But I'm going to say tonight, and I don't do this lightly because I've always tried to avoid it, but that your government has been lying to you. Ottawa Police Service, and we're going to show you this tonight, they've been lying to you. They've been lying to you about these people being racists. Their characterization of this protest as being a huge threat has been a giant lie. The media has been lying to you. It's all been a gigantic lie to smear Canadians, ordinary, regular, everyday, working class Canadians. It's been a giant lie. If you're tuning into the CBC, CTV, Global, Toronto Star, any of the big media, Globe and Mail, they've all been lying to you. Outright lying. Propaganda. The characterization of this whole thing as being some giant threat is just a great big load of you know what.
Without a doubt. And with the way they're reporting it, even when I'm listening to the radio in my car, I'm hearing on the radio in my car, they're giving the news with such cheerful disposition. And not only that, the legacy media is cheerleading the police on this. They're acting like Steve Irwin getting up into a rattlesnake's face. Oh, look at this one, sweetheart. Yeah, kick him real good. Kick him real good. They're egging this whole thing on.
Yep, it's just been a gigantic propaganda machine, all designed to justify Justin Trudeau's power grab. As I say, Canada, as we have known it, no longer exists, folks. I don't say this lightly either, and I don't think most Canadians don't fully understand the gravity of what is even happening. They're all too busy sitting at home on their sofas watching Netflix, eating potato chips.
It's like that.
We have no rights anymore. We no longer live in a free society. You no longer have the right to go protest. Only Justin Trudeau and the Liberal government get to decide which protests are okay and which ones are not. It has been pretty much like that for the past 2 years anyway, where certain protests, even during the height of COVID, were allowed to proceed, while any other kind of outdoor gathering was prohibited. Where certain politicians were secretly going on vacations and breaking COVID rules, while churches were shut down and pastors were arrested. And even tonight, we have a pastor incarcerated as a political prisoner in Alberta, who is, I believe, in a hunger strike. Is that not correct, Brendan? Pastor Arthur Pavlovsky.
I'm not fully up to date with Pastor Art, unfortunately.
I believe he's on a hunger strike. I think he's now into something like the 11th day.
Oh, my goodness.
Something like that. And he's been arrested, I think, now 5 times. If that isn't being targeted and persecuted, I don't know what is.
And the courts were, I think, very unfair with him. The courts essentially said, if you're ever out doing public speaking events or anything like that, any talk that comes up about COVID, they wrote verbatim a script for him to use. So the court ordered him that if he's ever discussing issues pertaining COVID, that he has to have compelled speech with it. I don't remember what it was verbatim, but it's something crazy about. It's a whole paragraph long. But the government doesn't get to compel people's speech. And that's where the line should have been drawn in 2016 when that had happened.
Well, the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms, it's their view that this protest is and was lawful. And they sent out this letter to Ottawa's interim police chief, Steve Bell. This letter says, "We observed your press conference. On behalf of the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms, we are writing to you directly with our grave concerns regarding your legally unsupported warning to Canadians about rights of public assembly and protest. This is in regard to the police saying, don't come to Ottawa if you're going to come here to engage in the protest. Remarkably today," the letter continues, "you stated that your police will not allow people to enter downtown Ottawa to participate in peaceful protests. You have no authority whatsoever to make such an order. Your direction to the police is contrary to the rights of Canadians to peaceful assembly, as is guaranteed under Section 2 of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, the Charter. The Charter ensures that Canadians are free to peacefully assemble, to express their ideas, to gather to discuss them, and to communicate political dissent widely to other people. These activities are basic forms of individual liberty. They are essential to the basic functioning of a democratic society like Canada. In Canada, people are free to discuss matters of public policy, to protest peacefully, and to criticize politicians, governments, and laws. We request that you review immediately the most recent federal proclamation under the Emergencies Act, which confirms that Canadians have the right to continue to come to downtown Ottawa." And that is the truth. That is the way it is. However, police have been telling people they're not allowed to come into downtown Ottawa. They're telling them that they're not allowed to protest. They're saying that the protest has been unlawful, illegal. They keep using these phrases. They call it an occupation, not a protest. Justin Trudeau has clearly directed these troops to go in there to remove these protesters who have been there lawfully. And in that way, our government is acting illegally. It's not the protesters who are acting illegally. It is the government. It's the municipality. It's the Ottawa Police Service. It's the other police services that are acting unlawfully tonight. They're acting against the people. They're acting against the best interests of the country. They are undermining the integrity of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Justin Trudeau is improperly using the Emergencies or War Measures Act. The government tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is out of control. And that is why Canada is falling. Because this is not going to stop. Even after these protesters are cleared away from Parliament Hill, this is not going to stop. Justin Trudeau has given himself massive, unprecedented power, and he is unleashing it against his own people. If you think that this is going to end here, think again. Give your head a shake. Wake up. This is just the beginning.
Absolutely. Now, you were talking about how it wasn't protesters who had jammed up downtown Ottawa and that it's the police. Well, I have somebody had the good graces to so this is February 4th what was closed downtown Ottawa.
Yeah.
And this was the next image. And this is now.
Yeah, I know that police have set up over 100 roadblocks in the Ottawa area around Parliament Hill. Over 100. That makes for absolute gridlock. They've locked that area down. But that's not the truckers doing it. That's the cops. And even before their incursion began and their aggressive actions, they had blocked bridges and they were impeding the flow of traffic through the city, all the time blaming the truckers for their efforts to control the protest and prevent it. A lot of the inconvenience, most of it, honestly, is the result of police actions, not from the protest itself. That's been the case from the beginning. Even downtown, they left lanes open for emergency vehicles. There was access, into and out of. Yes, there was some disruption. Yes, there was some traffic disruption down there. Traffic isn't good down there at the best of times, I can tell you. It is not. It's a terrible place to drive around. I don't like going down there. I don't like driving around in the downtown. It's always snarled. And with all those trucks down there, yeah, it was not great for traffic. But
they make claim that a lot of people in downtown Ottawa, like people who live in Ottawa, are very upset with everything that's happened and blah, blah, blah. The media and the government officials use the exact same kind of scare tactics that they did with COVID in a lot of cases. They terrified the residents more than, I would say, the protesters have, by claiming they're Nazis and they're assaulting people and they're disrupting people's businesses and all this other stuff. But if you think about the repeat of the lies, they repeat the lies so much that the lie becomes truth, and it scares the crap out of people.
Well, they use fear to get what they want. They use fear to manipulate the truth and get people to react and even support things in a particular way, right? So
no wonder the Ottawa residents are terrified.
Yes,
because it's been their doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's the same thing they did in the past 2 years to make you afraid of stuff. Just repeat the lie, repeat the lie, repeat the lie, repeat the lie, repeat the lie. They keep doing that. And before you know it, subconsciously, everybody's terrified of pickup trucks in downtown Ottawa now, supposedly. I've read articles about that. Whenever I see a pickup truck, I'm terrified.
When I learned a lot about storytelling as a journalist over the years, and when it comes to storytelling, the most effective way to do it is to break things down almost into cliches. Tell stories from a black and white perspective. And if you want to get an emotional response from people, the trick is to tell a story from extremes. And that's what the government has been doing throughout this. And that's what they've done throughout the COVID situation as well. And that's what the media has been doing on their behalf, on the government's behalf. So when these truckers started to roll in, they painted a cliched picture in people's minds of a bunch of redneck, racist, Nazi truckers racing to the nation's capital and portrayed them as a bunch of domestic terrorists, and terrified some of the people in town to the point where they said, don't open your businesses. These people could be violent. And the video that we have been running here for the past month has shown the exact opposite. The exact opposite. What have we seen, Brendan? Hugging, flag waving, dancing, people singing the national anthem, right?
Yeah. Hold up one sec.
Mm-hmm.
I got some interesting video of what's happening right now.
Sure. Let's bring it up.
Yeah. Just came up on my feed. It just came in.
Okay, we're going to jump out of this feed and pick up the feed over there. Are you ready?
I am now, yeah. Fire away.
Here we go. What are we seeing? Is there any audio?
Yep.
I don't hear it. What are they doing? Singing? Dancing? What is that? Yeah, I don't. No audio, Brendan.
No audio?
No audio.
Okay, well, I'll send it to you. Sometimes if I have too many windows open, it'll do that.
Okay,
close
let's pick
that.
this up.
So now I believe it's just going to be a matter of time. I think after this weekend, it's going to be cleared out.
Something happened to the feed. Okay, well, it's just people dancing. What can I say?
Well, yeah, it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
The people are not afraid, and they're using positivity. They're using lightheartedness.
So more live feeds here. And as you can see, what the strategy for police has been since yesterday, they've been doing this since yesterday, and they continue today. They move into the area in large numbers, they form a line, and then they start to advance slowly, taking a few feet at a time. A little more and a little more. Look at the people hugging up in the top right-hand corner of the screen. That's
Yeah.
what we've seen going on throughout this thing. That's what's been going on. And even as police have been beating people with batons and rifles, we've been seeing people respond with kindness in a very Canadian way. Now, to be sure, I have seen and heard people, shouting at police saying, shame on you. How can we trust you anymore? And that's because there's no question the relationship between police and the public has been severely, if not permanently, damaged. People are now afraid of Canadian police services. Cops. They're afraid of cops. I think everybody to some degree now is afraid of cops. I'm afraid of them, and I never was before. Never was before. The great thing about living in Canada, one of the great things was always that, we had police we could trust and count on. Police we could count on to keep us safe, where safety and a focus on the community was paramount, primary. Now, these police services are allowing themselves to be used as a political tool. And that is one of the trademarks of a totalitarian society run by an authoritarian dictator. If you have police doing the bidding of your prime minister or your president or whoever is in charge at the very top, and targeting his political opponents or her political opponents, if they get to use police in that manner or the military, then you have a really serious problem. Now, you might say, well, Justin Trudeau doesn't direct the police. Well, I think it's pretty clear tonight that he does. That's what the use of the Emergencies Act is all about, the War Measures Act. That's what this is all about. And now they can go after your bank account if just because you don't share the same political views as them. And they're doing it. They've already done it.
What do you think it would take to restore faith in these institutions that have now been so abruptly and grotesquely shattered?
Brendan, I wish I had a clear answer. It's Justin Trudeau has to go. There's no question about that. I said a couple of nights ago, I don't want him to be my enemy. I want him to be my prime minister because he's elected. He's there already. I want him to act like a prime minister and do the right things for the Canadian people. But after seeing what has happened here over the past 2 days with the use of brute force against our own people, the government unleashing this kind of coercion, this kind of violence against people who previously were down there celebrating Canada, asking for their freedom back, trying to restore, not undermine or destroy, but restore the Charter of Rights and Freedoms and bring back freedom and individual rights for all Canadians. After seeing the way they've been treated, the way they've been beaten, tear gassed, pepper sprayed, beaten with rifles and batons, trampled with horses. The only violence that we have seen from the beginning has come from police or paramilitary troops, because that's what these are. Justin Trudeau knew that bringing in the military would not look good. So he turned the cops into soldiers, dressed them up in their police riot gear, and pointed the finger at the people he wanted taken care of. And tonight, that's what we continue to see. Canada is falling. Make no mistake.
And that seems to be the view from our brothers and sisters down south in America. I did share on my bottom screen there, or I just shared something there.
I really wanted Justin Trudeau to, I thought maybe he could redeem himself. Maybe he could do something. Maybe he'd come around. Maybe nothing.
No. He's not for the people, Rick.
He's got to go. He's got to go.
Yeah.
This is going to cost him everything politically. He's going to be done at some point. And I would say that at some point, the police, the senior officers, other people involved in this, they'll be held accountable in some way as well. There will be lawsuits because of this. There will be.
And you know what? I'm kind of mortified if we do see another election. So Justin Trudeau, in the last election,
look at the flowers at the feet of the cops, placed there by the protesters, the people they call terrorists. These are not terrorists. They're truck drivers, farmers, people who came from all over, just everyday people who came from all over the country to come and support this protest, and the truckers who were delivering hope to the people. They're not terrorists.
I had an epiphany here. It's not a very bright and fuzzy one, unfortunately, but you're right when you say Justin Trudeau has to go. In the last election, Justin Trudeau put his crosshairs on the unvaccinated. If there is another election, who's going to be the bad guy then? Because he'll make a boogeyman. Believe me. He'll create one. And it's not hard to do. It's not hard to do.
He has taken us to the edge where unvaccinated people, he's filled people's heads with so much crap that we're on the verge of carting unvaccinated people off to camps, COVID camps. Where have we seen that before? There's no possible way Justin Trudeau can unite this country. There's no possible way now. It's impossible. The longer he stays in office as prime minister, the longer his caucus supports him, the more divided the country will be. the more damaged the country will be. This is all about him. This is all about his power grab. And he will not let go of this Emergencies Act willingly or easily.
No.
What's it in place for? It was to get rid of this protest on Parliament Hill. But you mark my words. Even after this weekend, and no doubt this will be done probably by sometime tomorrow in the morning.
I suspect most of the people here have come for the weekend, and
yeah,
it'll be over.
So, yeah, it'll be over very soon. There's not much left of it, right? But
No.
Trudeau will hold on to that. He'll find other reasons. He'll say that there are still domestic terrorists out there who are a threat. He'll scare the living daylights out of people, and the media will help him do it, so that if you talk to, he'll get some people, maybe up to half the population, convinced that there's a domestic terrorist hiding around every other lamppost, and that we have to root them out, and that most of them are unvaccinated or whatever. Okay. But he will, he's going to maintain this narrative. He can't back down now. He's going to double, triple, quadruple down on it. He's invested so heavily in it. And this is how he will try to maintain power. Your rights, folks, are gonzo. Gone. And the cops are making sure of it tonight, because the only people standing up right now are down there at Parliament Hill. Now, the struggle will continue, but Trudeau has a stranglehold on this country in a way that we've never seen before. And in a way that most Canadians don't understand. He is effectively Canada's dictator now.
And you know, me and Rick aren't the only people who think that Justin Trudeau is a dictator. Senator for New Mexico, Representative Yvette Herrell, tweeted, and I can't post the tweet up here because it's got media clips that we can't share, but it does say, Justin Trudeau's heavy-handed crackdown against peaceful protesters in Canada is not the action of a Western democracy, but that of an authoritarian regime like Venezuela. Just as we provide asylum for political prisoners, we should do the same for truckers who have been subjected to violence, had their property confiscated, and their bank accounts frozen by a government that is quickly becoming the embarrassment of the free world. I am introducing legislation that would temporarily grant asylum to innocent Canadian protesters who are being persecuted by their own government. We cannot be silent as our neighbors to the north are treated so badly. And
Where was this? Sorry, I missed who it was.
It's New Mexico's Senator Yvette Herrell, and I can't post it because it's got a media clip on it, but it's on her Twitter.
Well, we know that a lot of Canadians, I know some personally, have been looking at or have already left the country because they are so afraid. And
yes,
and
this is an example that just not me and you who think Justin Trudeau is a tyrannical dictator. This is a senator of the United States putting forward putting together legislature that will allow basically political prisoner, legislation allowing political prisoners to immigrate to the United States.
When have we ever seen another country come forward with anything like that? When has it ever been necessary for anyone to offer us political asylum to anyone in Canada? That is, if that doesn't open your eyes, if that doesn't make you start to think, I don't know what will. That's where we're at. It really is. It really is where it's at. Because the justice minister said this week that if you're a Trump supporter, you should be worried about your bank account. So that means if, say, your local MP, who happens to be a liberal, or maybe someone from the Liberal Party even, doesn't like you, and they go on your Facebook and they see something on there about you liking Donald Trump, or maybe even the GOP in the U.S., all they need to do is make one phone call. I think Joe Smith is a terrorist. I think he's a domestic terrorist because he likes Donald Trump.
Who said that?
That was the Justice Minister in his news conference from 2 days ago. You can look it up.
In Trudeau's cabinet?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, we mentioned that just the other night, Brendan.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get the exact quote.
But you're absolutely right. In order to restore the country, Justin Trudeau is going to have to go. I don't know how or why. He should just make it easy for everybody, and resign.
Well, those comments from the Justice Minister, David Lametti, has resulted in something of almost like a bank run, with a lot of people moving now to withdraw their assets, in cash from the banks, and then deposit them in other places that are safer because they're afraid that Canadian banks are no longer a safe place to keep their money. And yeah, so here's a quote. Canada's top Justice Minister said Thursday that pro-Trump people should fear having their bank accounts seized. And I'll bring this up if you like.
Yeah, it's okay. I found it.
It's
maybe put it up for other people. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the it was widely reported. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not just making this stuff up, folks. I mean, I'm just not. I mean, I unbelievable, right? So this is the Washington Times. They picked this up through the wire services and then done their own spin on it. But it says Attorney General David Lametti was asked on CTV's Power Play program. So it was on CTV, whether people who had donated to the trucker convoy that has paralyzed Canada's capital and borders will have accounts seized. And he did say that pro-Trump people should fear having their bank accounts seized. That's what he said.
Now, despite what everybody thinks about Trump, I, to be honest, don't give two shits. I don't care what anybody thinks about Trump. What people do need to compartmentalize is that he's a political figurehead, and he often represents Republicans, as he was the Republican president.
And so the exact quote here was, if you are a member of a pro-Trump movement who is donating hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars to this kind of thing, then you ought to be worried, he said. Well, you know what makes me worried? Him saying that. Does it stop at Donald Trump or what? Sorry, Brendan, go ahead.
No, my point being that just because somebody takes a political side or is labeled by a political side, it doesn't mean that we should ostracize that individual and throw them in the garbage like that. Like, I don't know. I think that's a big problem. There's nothing wrong with being Republican, and there's nothing wrong with, well, there's a lot wrong with being liberal now, but they have some backpedaling to do. But I would like to say that there's nothing wrong with being liberal, and I would never hold that against anybody. Especially not in a personal conversation with anybody.
I don't know. It's kind of getting to the point where the political lines are being drawn so definitively that it's almost becoming a choice between good and evil, right? Yeah. So
yeah,
I just don't know. I mean, yeah, like I think the problem is that people just don't understand the gravity of some of what is going on here still, or any of what is going on in some cases. When they, I knew when they renamed that War Measures Act, the Emergencies Act, I thought, wow, that is actually a dangerous thing, because it will make it easier for any government or any prime minister then to make use of it.
Big time. And that's the problem with the softening of language. Whenever they take harsh language and they make it soft, it's like, watch out. That's so dangerous how they do that. It's like, We'll give it a cutesy name like the Emergencies Act. It doesn't sound as scary and violent.
Yeah, but it is. It's serious, man.
100%.
Let's just pick up some of the audio and see what's going on down there.
Thank you. I've been watching you for a long time, man. You're kick ass and you spread nothing but the truth, man. That's the only thing that matters. Nothing but love, nothing but the truth, bro.
Also, I queued up the press conference for today because my audio isn't going through.
Okay.
It's in the private chat.
Okay. This is live feeds from the area around Parliament Hill.
Cell phone and a data plan, baby.
Still a lot of people down there. It's going to take the cops some time. I'm amazed at the resolve on display. It's it is, it's actually inspiring. These people want freedom. And even in the face of these huge threats from Justin Trudeau, from Ottawa Police Service, the municipality, under threat of being arrested, and even as they've seen other people beaten, even as, did you say flash grenades or something were set off down there today too?
Yeah, it looks like it was an accident, but it's hard to tell. We'll analyze that video after. I wanted to get your take on it, so I'll cue that one up too.
Okay. And if you would like to support what we are doing as we continue to fight on this information war, you can support our reporters by going to freedomreporters.com. It helps us produce these broadcasts and will help expand this channel. And even after this convoy is cleared away by these paramilitary units, we'll continue to bring you coverage. It's become pretty clear to us that we need to be doing this. The public needs other perspectives.
100%. And I mean, in the very least, if you wish to support us in another way, you could like and subscribe our video and hit the bell for notifications. That is also greatly appreciated.
So we do have some plans to expand what we're doing in the weeks and months ahead with this, not just with this broadcast, but with an effort to bring you more independent journalism in general. And anything you can do to help us and support us would be greatly appreciated. Carla Olson is down there again tonight still. She's been down there for over 3 weeks, going on 4 weeks. This is the fourth weekend. And we're trying to help her with her expenses because being there is expensive. It costs money, and we really, really, really could use your help. freedomreporters.com. And there are also hot links in the YouTube and Facebook descriptions, which will take you straight to the donation page. So greatly appreciate anything anybody does. And to those of you who have already donated, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. More than you know. More than you know.
Do you think those cops are going to have PTSD whenever they hear that song?
I don't know, Brendan. I wonder how they deal with it psychologically. And I've honestly, as you can tell, I've sort of reached the end of my patience with them.
Absolutely.
I really have. I still hear people saying, well, I think a lot of these cops don't really want to be here. I thought, they really don't want to. Yeah, no? If they don't really want to be there, then why are they? A lot of other people had to make a choice, right? Get the thing or lose your job. And a lot of people decided, I'll lose my job. A lot of other people said, we're told, don't come down there. You could get beaten. You could get thrown in jail. But they made a choice and they came down because they wanted to fight for Canada. And that's what they're there doing tonight. What are these cops doing? What are they doing? What are they really standing for? Not just what are the orders, what were they told to do? Are they there just blindly following their orders? Are they thinking really about what impact this is going to have once these people are cleared out of there? What is this doing to the country tonight? What are they doing to the country? What are they doing? I never thought I'd hear myself talk like that about police, but my God, at what point do you stop having patience and start holding people accountable?
You know, we know perfectly well that the police are capable of declining orders from the government. We all recall that when Doug Ford implemented emergency measures where he basically made it legal for the police to stop you without reason, and that every police force in Ontario said no. We're not going to do that. We don't have the operational capacity for it. So we do know that the police are fully capable of saying no.
Yeah, it wasn't just that they didn't have the operational capacity. They knew it was just morally, ethically, and even legally wrong for them to do it. So they said no.
You're very welcome. Media stuff, man. I'm sick and tired of whatever he's saying in general. Uncut, unedited, uncensored. Free speech all the way, baby.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad they've turned the party out of this because, like, yesterday was atrocious, the actions that had been taking place. But you know what? It's a special kind of courage to look danger in the face and smile.
And Brendan, if you're a police officer, I think it's your obligation to say no when something isn't right. It's your duty, your absolute duty, your obligation. Because of the nature of your job. The same as anybody in a position of power. A leader. We rely on our leaders to do the right thing, to protect us, to protect our rights. Our politicians, that's what they're supposed to be there for. And if you're a police officer and you're there to enforce laws, then you better make sure that you're enforcing laws that are lawful. Yeah, here come the stormtroopers. Here come the stormtroopers.
You know what? The people do know this is wrong. Like, Ottawa police tweeted an hour ago, "We know the events in Ottawa are upsetting. Still, we're asking people to stop calling critical emergency and operational phone lines to express displeasure about the police action to remove an unlawful assembly downtown." You know, they call the Korean War a police action, if I can recall correctly.
Sorry, I'm just looking at another feed here, Brendan, just trying to get a bead on what it is. I agree with you. I'm glad they've turned it into a party. And that just shows even more clearly, right?
I'm sorry, you cut it off there. It shows what?
It shows even more clearly. It contrasts what's going on the people's side versus the police and government side, right? The cops come down there with guns, riot gear. On the other side, as people are being beaten, they respond by dancing, singing, throwing a big national Canadian style party.
You know, it doesn't look like the police have any intention on moving on this for right now.
No.
Marlene, that's awesome. What I believe we got to pray right now. Is that okay, guys? We're going to pray. We're going to call on the God of heaven and earth. We're going to call out to him because Psalm 50, verse 15 tells us, call upon me in the days of
Sorry, Rick, I just need to check on something real quick.
Sure, no problem, Brendan.
I will rescue you and you will glorify me. I don't know about you, but for some time now, our country's been going through some turbulences. In a time of trouble, there's something wise I would encourage you to do. Call upon the name of the Lord. Hallelujah. He promised, I will rescue you and you will glorify me. See, God gets the glory alone because he alone can heal our land, can keep our land and make it glorious and free. So Lord Jesus, we call upon you tonight. The multitude, dear God, just like in Genesis, just like how people, they began to call upon the name of the Lord. So Lord, tonight we call upon you, Lord. Please heal our land. Lord Jesus, keep our land. Lord, have your way, because I believe we are in a strategic moment when heaven invades earth. Thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. Lord, may your perfect will be done in our country, in our life. Your purpose, God. Holy Spirit, would you please fall afresh in Canada? Because Canada is yours. Lord, bless everyone here tonight. Bless the families here tonight. Lord Jesus, I pray that we will see your goodness again in the land. And Lord, today we repent before you, Lord. Your word says, if my people who are called by my name, we humble themselves and turn from the wicked ways, then he is able to heal the land. So Lord, starting from myself, I repent before you, Lord. We say with me, say Jesus. Say Jesus. We need you. Heal our country. Heal our land. Canada belongs to Jesus. So Lord, we thank you for freedom. I pray this in Jesus' name. And Lord, I pray, Lord God, that you will have your way in and through us, God. Lord, we thank you for your delivering power. And we pray a blessing over the truck drivers too. Say, Lord, bless the truck drivers. And Lord, we thank you for tonight. You know, it's night time, but the Bible tells us in 7:30 verse 5, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. You know, so many people have been weeping because they've lost businesses and jobs, they've lost loved ones. But the Lord is saying to us tonight, endure the night. Weeping may endure for a night. But here's the good part. Joy comes in the morning. Joy comes in the morning. And I want to encourage you. Jesus, he's the God of the night in the morning. And I want to say to you, God is not through with Canada yet. The best is now. And Canada shall be saved in Jesus' name. And I want to finish by saying, I believe God is still saying today, let my people go. So they can come and worship me. God bless you. I love you. Hallelujah.
We got another speaker right here. We got two. Hold on. Yeah.
My name is Andrew. I'm just an organizer. I'm not a scientist and I'm not a politician. But like me,
doing the prayer was a good idea for sure. But if we're gonna go into open mic night, that's it. It's a bad idea. Just keep the party going. See you guys. Okay, so I guess they're. Okay, so. Wait. All right. Well, I'm glad that I stayed on a bit longer. That was just so awesome. So wonderful to see. Love it. Love every bit of what's happening here. But I've said too much, right? Again, just a huge thank you to everybody. Everybody watching this right now. Everybody following Graham, sharing Graham. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. It's been a dream of mine for 8 years to have a well-functioning.
What do you think, Brendan?
Respected.
I think we have the best damn citizens a country could ever ask for.
Oh, it's the other way. Hi, Canada.
So even though Canada is falling tonight, or
Just over 4,000.
at least the Canada that we knew, do you think we're going to get it back?
You're kicking ass. You're just starting out. I've been doing this for a while.
I think in the long term,
Awesome. Thanks, man. Good night.
it
You
could
too.
possibly be better. But I think that there's some changes that have to happen.
So, yeah. Been a dream of mine for a
How
while.
many young, like, we've seen so many young people involved in this protest. How many of these people are going to be inspired to become politicians
All right. That should probably
or
do it for my
become
day
in,
here Ottawa.
go into
That's
other
my
arms
Carl.
of government?
Something to report on from the hotel room. Which,
Like, this is going
I
to
think at this
inflict
time I'm
change
done with the phone. I'm
within
done
this
with
whole generation
talking for about 45
of
I think I've been talking for
millennials
36 hours.
and younger,
Yeah. Probably
and
been
it
talking in my
could
sleep
have the
too.
possibility to, just like when a forest is burned to the ground, a new one grows in its stead.
So
but-
crazy living these last, especially just 2 days.
Like you, I am afraid,
Pacing around.
I'm very afraid
Insanity.
for the backlash that we're about to receive. There's going to be backlash for this, you bet. And we're already starting to see it. But Carla said this to us privately, but there's going to be aftermath from this. Some of that's going to be good aftermath, but most of it is going to be terrible aftermath. Because there's going to be a witch hunt
Right, everybody?
like we've never seen
And
before.
I'll say it now. Todd, shut up and go.
No doubt. It's already started.
I agree.
It's already started.
That's what
And that's why we're here. We're fighting, right? We're fighting the information war. So we're on this battlefront. The folks you're looking at
great stuff coming up for you.
down there in Ottawa right now, they're on the physical battlefront. And this was the front line for this entire freedom movement, Ottawa, the nation's capital, where they're saying these streets are owned by the local residents. You want these people out of here? Well, I got news for you, Mr. Police, Mr. Interim Police Chief, and all of these councillors and left-wing politicians. Ottawa belongs to the country. Those streets belong to the people in general, and the people have every right to walk on those streets. And what you're doing is illegal. You've been impeding and preventing people from getting down there today and for the past 2 days. And yet people have still found a way around your roadblocks, over 100 of them. to get back down there today to exercise their right to free speech, their right to criticize a government that is out of control. And as a journalist, I salute that, because as a journalist, that's something that I've fought for all my life. Free speech, freedom of the media. But you're right, Brendan, there will be a severe backlash to all of this.
Something's happening. People are running.
Let's bring up the audio.
Can you scale? Can you move
Top
it
left-hand
back?
corner. Top left-hand corner. This is live. Tear gas. See the cops taking somebody down, using more aggression. They're advancing, you see. That's the tactic police use. The maneuver, or the one of the things they do is they push people and butt them with their batons, hit them to push them back. They hold the baton in front of them in both hands, and then use it like a bar.
That's what they're called here.
Why? That is my building. That is our building.
Kettle them.
That you could still be right.
Yeah.
Another group is run over that way.
Police gaining more ground again.
That guy over there has a fair point.
Yeah, man.
See how he hit that guy? See how he's using the bar? Push him back, push him back. They push, they push, they push. They strike and push. Strike and push.
What do you think?
Crowd moving this way?
No.
Strike and push, push and strike.
Can't be having a party.
And if you think about it, Brendan, these people, the protesters, are actually showing incredible restraint. You have people down there who have been cooped up, locked down, abused psychologically, abused financially, abused in new and unspeakable high-tech ways by a government that has become tyrannical for over 2 years. And even through all of that, they're down there tonight and they're not violent. The only violence we've seen has been coming from the cops.
That's what causes this shit. What that guy did. Why?
Cops are gaining a lot of ground. Something went off there.
Yeah. I missed the initial thing, but I just saw people were running.
Yeah.
That's an amazing point. This whole thing is show Justin Trudeau's real face.
And yes, Canada is showing the world evil. No question, this is a fight between good and evil.
And it didn't just come from nowhere. It's been here. It's been here all along. It took a lot of time for people to wake up on this.
And you know, all it would have taken to prevent all of this, Justin Trudeau just had to come down and talk to them.
Big time.
I agree. Just doing your job, not a valid excuse.
Yeah, too much love for them.
Wasn't allowable after
Yeah, no,
World
sorry,
War
guys.
II.
I have to cut this. My phone's absolutely going dead, so I got to cut this before I lose it. Carl's phone is too cold. Seriously, my phone hasn't been anywhere near my body for like an hour, and yours is done already? Yeah, it's firing up. Okay, good. All right, we'll have the next live coming for you right away. I want us to leave the title of this one as Celebration. But
Ottawa police did put Pat King's arrest on their media website.
Yep.
Patrick James King, charged with mischief, counseling to commit the offense of mischief, counseling to commit the offense of disobey court order, counseling to commit the offense of obstruct police.
So this guy's firing what, rubber bullet?
In the face, right in the fucking head!
Yeah.
Right in the face!
The guy with the rubber bullet.
Yeah! Right in there! My fucking eye! Fuck you!
You know, how is it that politicians and police say, oh, look how abrasive and rude they are?
You guys are amazing. Yeah, he smacked his baton, my phone right out. He shot his phone, yeah. Yeah, rubber bullet, probably. I am glad you didn't hit you in the head. Holy, are you okay? Jesus, man. They're getting violent, dude. I don't know, man. Are you prepared for this?
Yeah, playing music, dancing. It's a party. No question about that. I'm just going to pull this audio down because that music is probably going to trigger a copyright claim.
Yeah, we don't need that.
There goes the audio for the moment. We'll bring audio back. I'm just going to look up, we talk about the cops trying to do the right thing. And there's a little twist on that played out this week. And I'm going to share that with you. I just want to make sure I get the exact quote and maybe even the letter that goes with that. Yeah, CTV didn't. Yeah, of course they didn't include the quote from the letter. Of course they didn't.
Where was the letter from?
It's from it's from Torrigan, Waterloo police chief. Hang on, I'll find it. Just talk to the folks there, Brendan. Keep things. I've got it here. Just don't worry about that. I'll pick it up.
Roger that. So I was kind of saying there a moment ago that the media and the police keep talking about how protesters and the like are very rude and abrasive and gruff and vile. That's a word that they've thrown around a lot too. But if you think about it, they are stared in the face of something that's very dangerous. These are individuals who have various types of weapons and are capable of doing grave harm to citizens and individuals. And we've seen that sort of thing happening. How are you supposed to protest? With your cup of tea and your pinky out? Like, is that... It makes no sense how they've tried to spin that narrative. It's also been... It's been crazy that they can even link that to it being an illegal protest. This is going to take 10 years to run through the courts. And people are going to lose jobs over what happens in Ottawa in 2022. Reputations are going to be ruined. We've already seen that. We've seen the falling out of that. The chair for the Ottawa Police Board, Diane Deans, was kicked out by council. Other members have dropped out. So, in the span of 1 week, Ottawa Police Board services lost 3 members. That's almost unheard of. That never happens. Well, almost never happens. I think that's a little window of what is expected to come in the next little while. And not only that, if any member of Justin Trudeau's cabinet or political party is going to be found orchestrating with the police, there's going to be hell to pay with that.
They pulled them off the ground before, and they're right up against the cement abutment here. Right at the front line, they're pulling them. People are kneeling.
Great song, guys. Time for some clubbing.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but to deliver us from evil. Again, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done.
When have you ever seen a protest this size where the Lord's Prayer is invoked? Never, I tell you, never.
Very good point.
It would have been all the way back to Martin Luther King Jr., which was the largest civil rights movement at its time, and this is now, of our generation, the largest civil rights movement. The world is saying.
Not only that, I would say it's the most successful civil rights movement in a generation.
If they wanted to put a the fence behind us, push us back. Why didn't they just ask to push us back?
Oh, you muted yourself there, Rick.
Yeah, I'm just going to pull this up for you, folks. Going to had that audio playing in my head. Folks, you can't hear it, but I can hear it. It's gone now in my earpiece. Okay. Yeah, so let me come back here. This guy here. This is, let me pull that out. This guy was offered the job of police chief in Ottawa because Chief Slawley resigned earlier in the week. And this is the former Waterloo Region Police Chief, Matt Torrigan. And he initially accepted the job, but then declined and sent a letter to the police board and Ottawa Municipal Council. And in that letter, Torrigan said he was terminating his new contract. He said he was asked by the former chair, who was ousted, the former chair of the Police Services Board in Ottawa, to come and help the city during this time of crisis. And the reason he did that was because in the letter he said, and this is him saying it, my sincere desire in accepting this request was to help restore order in Ottawa and increase confidence in the Ottawa Police Service. Achieving this objective is clearly something that requires the support of the people of Ottawa, as expressed by City Council. Events in the past 2 days, he said, have made it clear that this support is not there. And that, I think, is, to say the least, very telling. Very telling indeed.
It is.
The media has been spinning this story saying that the local residents want these truckers out of there. And the interim chief has been standing up saying, we need to give these streets back to the people who own them. That's a direct quote from the interim chief Bell.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I come back to this. Those streets belong to everyone. Those are public streets. Those are streets in the nation's capital. And Ottawa belongs to all the people, all the time. And every Canadian citizen has the right to walk down those streets in Ottawa at any time they darn well please. That's their right. So they don't just belong to the local residents, they belong to the whole country. And if there's an appropriate place to stage a protest or a demonstration, it's right there, parked right smack dab in front of the Parliament buildings, right in front of Justin Trudeau's office. And if he isn't going to listen to anything anybody has to say, then I guess the protest might just drag on for a while, as it has for the past month. And maybe instead of making an example out of people by turning your police service into a paramilitary shock troop or armed force that goes in there and uses violence to send them all home, maybe you might try a little dialogue. So was this a lawful protest? Yes, it sure was. Is it a lawful protest right now? Yeah, I think it is. Are the police acting lawfully? No, I don't think they are. Because I don't think the government is acting lawfully either. I think they've done an end run around the Constitution and the Charter. And I think they're using these powers bestowed upon Justin Trudeau under the Emergencies and War Measures Act inappropriately and casually. I don't think this is right at all. I don't think anything we're seeing here is very Canadian at all. And it's disturbing. And as I said, what we're witnessing here tonight is Canada falling.
It's a great last stand to be having. You know, I don't think we've ever had an issue. We've never had an issue where
long as they're moving, let
such an
them move.
unprecedented number of
Even if it takes 30 minutes.
police officers,
You know how
former
many-
police officers,
I was
former
down to 10
military,
minutes. I
even
saw
current
people
military
puking.
give their support for an issue like this.
Yeah, I don't really ever remember anything happening, a demonstration like this, where we've actually seen police divided in this way. And it just shows how difficult this has been for some police officers. And as Carla pointed out yesterday, she did see at least one officer come over and leave the police line to join the protesters, only to then be arrested by his colleagues immediately. But I've never seen anything like that happen before. And we've seen other officers quit their jobs and not go down there. But the ones who are there tonight, they accepted an offer to go there and work overtime, pick up some extra cash to go and put an end to this demonstration, this struggle to save the country. That's what these folks have been doing down there. They've been trying to save Canada. And Justin Trudeau is crushing them. They've been trying to save the country. They've been out there fighting for you, folks. They've been out there fighting for you. How much longer do you think this can go on, Brendan?
It's not going to last the rest of the weekend.
You think it'll last till morning?
Barely. All these, it's cold. I believe you made the point before. All the police can rotate shifts. Like, they have the ability to rotate that line there, like every 3 hours if they wanted.
Yep.
But the protesters don't have that ability. This is a grassroots thing. There's not anybody sitting at the top of this dictating schedules or anything like that. And that's probably a good thing, but it's also its weakness at the same time. It's also its weakness. And, you know, speaking of strengths and weaknesses, technology, as much as I love to hate it, thank God for it. Thank God for it. It's allowed us and all these people to expose all this ugliness and all this terrible stuff that's been going on. This would have never been possible in the 90s.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit now, just briefly. We'll just jump out of this live feed for a moment. We'll come back to it, though, so that you're seeing everything unfold in real time.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk a little bit about that woman and the gentleman that were trampled by the horses yesterday.
Oh, you mean the cyclists?
Yeah. So why don't you explain what the bicycle thing was about, Brendan?
The Ottawa police yesterday had claimed that somebody had obstructed a police animal with a bicycle. By police animal, they mean horse. And by bicycle, they mean an elderly woman's walker.
Right. Well,
we
there's a little development and a twist to that tonight. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find the footage first of the incident where the horse did trample the people.
Mm-hmm.
The horses trampled the people. Let's see if I can find it here. So yeah, there was an incident yesterday. It was very disturbing. I'm sorry, I've got so many tabs open with so many clips.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, if you have it, bring it up, okay? Because we don't want to keep people waiting too long.
No, I don't have it, but I can probably find it in seconds flat here.
I had it queued up.
I know we watched it like 5 times last night.
My apologies. Let's go back to the live feed. I'll find it.
Bring the live feed up. I'll let you know when I have it.
There's our live feed again.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. We try.
Well, Brendan finds the footage. I'll again remind everybody that if you'd like to support our journalism, you can do so at freedomreporters.com. There's also a hot link in the YouTube and Facebook descriptions that will take you directly to the YouTube or directly to the donation page. We're here trying to provide balance against the legacy media, and we do have some plans to expand this channel in the weeks and months ahead, because it's clear that even after these protesters are cleared out of here by these cops, paramilitary troops, this story is going to be ongoing. The struggle to restore Canada to what it once was as a free, open, democratic society is going to take some time. Carla Olson is still down there tonight. She's been shooting a lot of video for us, and she's been joining us nightly to give us a recap on what she sees through the day. And we expect she'll probably join us sometime later tonight. And your donations will help cover the cost of producing these broadcasts, and it will also support our reporters. It'll support Carla and help cover her expenses. She's been down there now for a better part of a month, and it does get expensive. So we greatly appreciate any support anyone can send. We are fighting an information war here as much as anything else. And in that respect, we're on the front lines. But it takes a lot of bravery for these folks down there tonight to stand there and stand down these troops in a peaceful way, even as they watch their friends and colleagues beaten.
If you check out the private chat,
okay,
I just put the link in there. Just
Thank
my audio is not working. Probably
Okay.
have to reboot or something, but neither here nor there. So
here it is. Yeah. Okay. I will bring that up for you now, folks, and show you that footage of that poor woman being trampled by the horses. Why does it not pop up in my... There we go. Here she is.
This is what we're doing it for. So they all can have peace, love, and happiness. Peace, love, happiness.
Amen. Amen.
Peace, love,
Happiness. Peace.
You guys are breaking my heart. This is peace, love, and happiness. Peace. We are at peace.
You can see she has a walker in front of her.
Hold the line. Here comes the horses. They have the horses. Hey, stand down. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look what you did. Look what you did to her. Look what you did to her. Look what you did to her. You trampled on the lady who is inaccessible. Shame on you. Shame on every one of you.
You know, every time I look at that, it bugs me. It just bugs me so much. And you know, I noticed something. I had something tonight compared to yesterday when we looked at the footage originally. You notice how red her face is? Like, that's as red as some of the pepper spray. I don't know if that's causing. I don't know if it's because of
She's
the
been
weather.
out there. She was out there in the cold for hours and days, Brendan. That's why her face is so red. And Carla said that she had interviewed that lady, and you know, kind soul was she was out there because she was so touched by what she saw and it was experiencing down there, and she'd been out in the cold with all of those people for days. So yeah, her face is red, and
Peace
out
and
there with
love.
her walker.
Peace and love.
And she was not, you know, those cops were so aggressive with those horses, and they weren't careful enough. They were negligent as far as I'm concerned. That's what it appears to me. I think that there's, you know, some real questions that need to be answered surrounding that, because
You know what? And
that never should have happened.
I think one of the questions we need to ask is that really even needed in modern policing? How often do they use these horses? I've only seen them used 3 times in like the past 6 years. They use them in Toronto because remember we had footage of.
I believe those horses, those mounted units are from Toronto. They brought them up.
Yes, so I've seen them in Toronto. Hamilton has a mounted unit in Hamilton, Ontario, and then I've seen them used in Ottawa. So, is there really a budgetary justification for a mounted unit like that? Like, what did it even do?
Well, they can use them, and I think that there, you know, is probably a proper time and place to use them. And if in a crowd control situation where you're dealing with a violent, volatile crowd, yes, maybe, sure. But in this case, and if you know, sure, if you want to bring in cops on horses for crowd control, okay. But you better be damn careful with them so that you don't trample people. The cops are there supposed to be keeping people safe.
Yeah.
You don't ride into the middle of a crowd with those damn things and in a way that anyone would ever get hurt. They were not careful enough. The fact that someone got knocked over and trampled, 2 people got knocked over and trampled, just the fact that it happened shows that they weren't careful enough. Period. It never should have happened. They shouldn't have come in the way they did. If they can't use the damn thing safely, they shouldn't have them at all.
And believe it or not, the police said that that's how they're supposed to use them. They're supposed to use them to create a gap or a space to push back.
Fine.
To push back
create your space.
crowd
Don't trample
from the
people when you
line.
do it.
Well, that's how you create the space. Either you get out of the way or you're going to get trampled. But clearly, this lady was not capable of doing that.
No,
I don't think the instances of the police even using mounted units in my lifetime has been effective.
No, I'm sorry, Brendan. There's no excuse. You don't just, you can create a line by, aggressively riding your horses through a crowd. Sure you can. You can push people back with them, right? But there's a responsible way to do it. And then there's the way these guys did it, okay? Because 2 people got trampled. A lady in a walker got trampled. She's not a terrorist. She's not a terrorist.
I know she's not a terrorist.
So what the hell are they doing? No excuse.
They're being negligent, and I don't think that.
And then the cops.
I don't even think mounted units are even that effective, because even in the instance in Hamilton where they broke up an anarchist riot, they couldn't even catch anybody with them. By the time they got the mounted unit out on the ground, it was too late.
They don't generally use them to chase after people. They use them for this kind of purpose. But there's a proper way to do it, and they'll put mounted units up in heavy traffic situations, crowd control, because the horses can go where cars can't. Right? There are justifiable. There are proper ways, and there are times to use them, but there's a proper way to do it, and you need to make sure you don't trample people with your horses. And then the thing is, the cops sort of twisted the truth, bent it a little bit. Maybe they even just outright lied. And people were outraged over this happening yesterday, so they issued this, and they said, "We hear your concern for people on the ground after the horses dispersed a crowd. Anyone who fell got up and walked away. We're unaware of any injuries. A bicycle was thrown at the horse further down the line and caused the horse to trip. The horse was uninjured." Well, I can tell you that there were people injured. Those people were injured. I know. I don't have an official report on that lady. Some people thought she was killed, but the word I got was that she is still alive, but she has a dislocated shoulder, and she's battered and bruised. And I'm still trying to find out exactly what happened to the other fella who looked like he was more severely trampled than she was. There were 2 people trampled by those horses. The point is, I could, if you give me a horse and there's a crowd, I can create a line too. All I have to do is just take the thing through to a gallop and just run right through the crowd. And the people hopefully will split like the Red Sea, and they'll make a space. But that's not a responsible way to do it. When you're going to ride your horse through the crowd, you better make sure that the officers who are there to help create that space to begin with have already created the space for you to ride your horse through, so that you can reinforce that negative space or that safe space between your officers and the crowd. You don't just ride the things into the crowd. You can't do that, because people will get trampled, because you can't be sure people can get out of the way in time, which was the case with this lady who was using the walker. She couldn't move quickly enough, and the horses knocked her over, and she got trampled.
Well,
so did the other fellow.
You know what you said about straight up lies? This is a straight up lie, unless the Ottawa police, which I think in their situation that they're obligated to provide proof that there was even a bicycle. Which
there was a bicycle. That's the other twist to this. I did see video today, and in fairness, there was a person with a bicycle, and I'll see if I can find that footage for you. I did see it. I don't have it queued up, but it's out there, and there is footage of a person who was to the left, and he did have a bicycle. But it's a lie. He never threw that bicycle underneath the horse. He never got close enough to the horse to do it. He was off to the left-hand side. There is video of it. And he had the bicycle in front of him like this. And the cops were pushing against him and pushing him back and pushing him back. And he never got anywhere near the horse. And in fact, even after the horses were gone, the guy still had a hold of his bicycle. He never let go of his bicycle. He never threw the bicycle. It never went underneath the horse. The guy never let go of his bike. And he was off to the left-hand side. What did end up underneath the bicycle or underneath the horses was the woman's walker. And I think the cops are using a little nugget of truth. Yeah, there was a bicycle. And now they're still saying that the bicycle was thrown. That is a lie. It's a lie because this statement was issued well after the fact. And there's video from multiple angles of what happened out there. And anyone who wants to go and look at it can see exactly what happened. And we know for a fact that that bicycle was never thrown at or under the horses. So yes, there was a bicycle there, but it was not thrown. And the cops have all that evidence. I'm sure of it. And if they don't have it, it's available right now. You can go and look it up for yourself. And if this goes to court, I'm sure all of that video will be available and will be used as evidence in court. It's a lie. And why are they lying? Because they've been lying about all of this, lying about them being Nazis, lying about all of the negative crap that they say has been going on down there, lying, calling it an occupation, even an insurrection. The former chair of the Police Services Board saying this is a nationwide insurrection. Nothing of the sort, nothing of the kind. Certainly not true. It's a peaceful demonstration conducted by Canadians who want their rights and freedoms back. And this whole thing here is a load of horse you know what. That's the truth.
Pun intended.
Yeah. Disgusting. Like, what else can these cops do? What else can the senior administration with the Ottawa Police Service do to undermine public confidence in their service? What else can they do?
Well, I'll tell you what else they can do. I will wager dollars to donuts, as you say, Rick Walker. Dollars to donuts that the Crown Attorney prosecutors are going to uphold those lies, and it'll go to court, and it'll like, if a judge or a jury like goes through with convicting these people, like, that's not going to be good for justice.
Yeah, well, as I say, I'm going to see if I can find that footage. I meant to get it queued up tonight, but we ran out of time in pre-production. And all I can say is, my God. Like, my God. Just trying to cover their own butts. That's what they're doing.
Oh, big time. And they'll fight to the grave for it because their careers are on the line.
Yes.
And reputations.
Yeah, but you know, the video doesn't lie.
No, it doesn't. Absolutely not. That wasn't even necessary.
Yeah.
Wasn't even necessary.
Never had to happen. None of this had to happen. None of it. Not one bit of it. Let's bring up some audio here.
Has those little cans or those little plastic things of milk. Milk, yep. Yep, milk is best for that, 100%. This just won't stop, eh? This won't stop. Let's see how the line looks over here. We got to be careful, of course. All right, so they moved. Looks like they moved forward about, about 6 feet anyway. They will go forward even more. That's for sure. They will advance more.
You better be getting all of this.
Yeah. Joe Tan, thank you so much for that.
Shit.
Yep.
Look at these fucking people.
Thank you, Joe Tan. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, guys. 19,000 in the chat. Like, share, subscribe. We're just...
If you have 100 good... Okay, you got 100 cups. 100 cups, right? You've got 88...
All right, there's Shizer and Gemini Lee. You didn't get hit on that one?
Oh,
No. I saw it coming. I went over by the McDonald's. I was looking around. I already knew.
We lose our audio feed there.
Something happened. It looks like
Yeah, we've got just the audio got cut for a moment.
Every
It'll
single
be
time
back.
they
There we
advance,
go.
they spray. Yeah. Portland Andy hot dog army
staying here.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
So I
yeah,
don't want to
We
get
are
Of course
peaceful.
not. It's not cool. Yeah.
We are lawful.
I'm bigger. I might.
Dennis Kate, thank you.
We have the duty to.
Nice solid video, Jeff. Keep holding the line. Yeah.
It's here.
We are.
Oh, you're gonna go?
Yeah. I've been right up there. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, Les. It's crazy. It's horrible.
you know, I've been
Keep in
watching
mind, these are
throughout
not.
today.
Keep in
haven't
mind,
seen
these
any
are
horses.
also not the police that were peaceful during the same people. These are all different. So that's a difference, right? What a difference, right? The police that were, yes, these are completely different ones. These are not part of the truckers convoy that were friendly with the truckers. These are obviously different. Thanks, guys. Share it out, like, and subscribe. Thank you. Anthony, I see that there. Thank you, Anthony. Diane Weaver, thank you. This is very sad. I know. Yep, thank you. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to Travel Fund 69 on YouTube platform. Yeah, this is crazy. 20,000 in the chat. Thank you. Like, share, and subscribe. Yes. Cheers. You want to say anything?
Yeah. This wasn't enacted legally. The cops don't have any authority to arrest you. That's why what they're doing is they're taking you, they're dropping you off 20 kilometers away, and because there's no legal authority to arrest anybody here.
Yeah.
All they're doing is breaking the law.
Yes. Of course. That's
So
right.
This is a peaceful protest.
Yeah.
We've already won. Justin Trudeau's days are over, but he keeps proroguing Parliament and shutting it down so that we can't debate the Emergency Act. So this is unconstitutional. Christian Freeland's been exposed, Trudeau's been exposed, and it's going down. But it might get really bad before
Of course.
it gets good. But
Yes, of
we've
course.
already won.
Yep.
And that's a fact. The whole world is watching.
Yep.
Australia's citizens just got microwaved. They've got radiation burns on their faces.
Oh my God, yeah.
The New Zealand is having the biggest protest they've ever had.
Yeah.
It's in the Carter and it said that their Maori native band is bad.
Say one thing.
Wow.
Hey, globalists, it's only the beginning, fuckers. Just you wait. Freedom will live on. Canada will live on. You will not kill us. You will not destroy our nation.
The whole world is watching, and this is the truth. Do not listen to mainstream media because they are covering up and lying about everything. They only show you the inconvenient truth. Sorry, they're not showing you the
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Thank you. Absolutely. I appreciate that. Lanny, thank you. Lanny, thank you so much for that. Lanny.
Thank you, Colin.
Matt Rogers,
Thank you so
cheers.
much.
In the Marine Corps, we gas your cup. Oh, qualify. Oh, yes. Qualify every year. Never seen milk used. Really? Cold water, if anything. Oh, that's a good take on that.
So I think some interesting and I think valid comments from that gentleman. And I believe that they're just picking people up and then taking them out of the area. And I also agree that they're probably not laying charges because what they're doing is not lawful. Because these protesters have every right to be there to protest.
What I am seeing is a lot of times it's just mischief and counseling mischief, and
Yep.
I do have video queued up that talked a little bit about that.
You can hit that subscription button. Thank you so much for that. But thanks for being here. Subscribe, like, and share. Thank you. Mike, the dad crowd.
And mischief has always been a blanket term for the police just to go in and
Yep.
like arrest you. Like you could kick a can down the street and they could say, "Oh, mischief." haul you.
Here's footage. I think this is footage of police. This is how they're dealing with crowd control. This is how they do it. See, look in the back. You see that?
Please, please, please.
I'm going to play that again for you. You see here?
Hey, you don't have to hit him like that.
Using a gun. It looks like they're using a gun, the butt end of a gun. See how they're hitting somebody?
Yeah.
Look in the back. That's how they treat people. That's how they're treating people.
Yeah, I have an example from today.
Hey, you don't have to hit him.
Unbelievable. Canada.
Here, play that clip I just put in there, the last one.
Sure, I'll find it. One
private
moment.
I guess I could have just plugged it in.
Okay.
It's not really an audio thing, so. All right, let me know when you're ready.
Sure, almost. Is it a Facebook? Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
Around outside, being arrested and being kneed there.
Look, two people are kicking him.
I have no interest in getting a criminal record.
Bring it back.
Outside, being arrested.
3 guys. 2 guys kneeing him at the same time.
There's the knee. There.
The guy's already down on the ground. He's incapacitated. They have 3 officers on him. 3.
Being arrested.
And they do that.
There.
Look, just watching, standing by. Oh yeah, that's some good kicking there, eh? Good job.
Unbelievable.
You know, Rick, bad things happen because good people idly stand by and let them. And that's exactly what the hell is going on in that police force there.
I don't know. I just don't know.
I can't quite see that one. 38-14 and Jake at 139.82. And I will come back with my mic before or after again. That's the Edmonton police.
I think now might be as good a time as any to share the flashbang video.
Sure.
I'm actually pretty interested to see what your thoughts are on it. Oops. Hold up.
This is the Edmonton police.
This guy's a little baby. Allow him. I know you have kids at home. The way you're looking at me in the eye.
There it is. Sorry.
You got it?
Yeah, it's in the. You'll have to play it because the audio is a good. We need the audio.
I'll cue it up. Here we go. So this is video. What are we going to see here?
Supposedly there's a flashbang that's gone off and possible gunshot.
Light off fucking frag grenades. Look at them. Look at them. Fucking frag grenades. Light off fucking frag grenades. Wow. Frag grenades, eh? What just happened? Are you guys all right? Honest right here. There's a frag grenade. Trying to scare everybody back. Or his gun, he accidentally pulled the trigger on his fucking gun. Because he's too busy holding the trigger like he's ready to shoot somebody, and then he accidentally pulled the trigger, is what it looks like.
So we don't really know what happened there, but
There's definitely a cloud of smoke in the upper right-hand corner there, and
yeah,
I don't know what the heck happened. But I mean, if that is the case, that's not gonna. That won't be very good for them.
well, we just don't know.
No.
But something occurred, and there was smoke, and something went off. Something happened
Yeah, they said it was.
with some sort of explosive or firearm or something. But again, I mean, it's all the violence we've seen has been coming from the cops, although the cops are trying to tell a different story. But all the video we see just reinforces what we've been saying, is that it's all coming from the cops.
Yeah, I really don't think this is gonna last over the night. I really don't think. Well, it won't last into Monday, that's for sure. They're gonna lose their patience for sure. And when that happens, something bad happens.
Instead, it's getting in early on a future monopoly and compounding the gains for years to come. Teal, for example,
There was a statement from police. I'm going to bring this up so you can see it. Sorry, get rid of that. That was the wrong feed here. Let me just show you what the police statement was.
Yeah. Was that the one from this morning?
No. So that's the wrong feed. That's going to get you. Here we go. Ottawa police tweeted, protesters are assaulting officers, have attempted to remove officers' weapons. All means of de-escalation have been used to move forward in our goal of returning Ottawa to its normalcy. Well, I'd like to see some proof. And if anyone tried to take a weapon from an officer, I don't think anyone there would be in favor of that or support it. And if anyone's being violent toward police, wouldn't support it. And I know that the plan from the beginning for the protesters was to simply turn, offer your hands so that they could cuff you. And try to hold the line, but don't be violent, be completely peaceful. So I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think we would have seen that. We wouldn't have seen. Either way, it's going to take years for it to come out in court, man. Like, it's not going to be a simple thing. And we've already lost our trust in these institutions, and this is going to be something that may even take a generation to resolve. I'm pretty surprised that anybody voted Justin Trudeau back in 6 months ago, and now look where we are.
Yeah, I think we've lost our live feed too, our live source. I'm just going to pick up another one here. Let me just get it queued up. We'll have more.
I put it in the private chat for you.
Did you?
Yep. That's the last comment. Please stand by. We're sorry about that, folks.
Okay. And here's Carla. Welcome,
Hey.
Carla.
Hi, guys.
How are you?
Hey.
Well, it's been an emotional day, as you know. I'm sure you've been watching.
Yes. And you remain unscathed.
Well, that's only because Big Law wouldn't let me get to where I wanted to be.
Big Law is your husband, right?
He is.
For the people who
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, he was. Every time I'd get close, he'd pull my arm. He'd pull my coat back. A few times I snuck away.
So you're down there shooting a lot of raw footage, live streams today, doing interviews, and what are we looking at down there?
Well, you're looking at I believe. Okay, so this is my most recent one, right?
No, this is
No, this is a
Somebody
live
else's.
stream right now. Yeah.
Right now. Okay, so you are looking at Spark and Bank Street. So behind, like at the very back of that line of people, are the police, and they are just at the corner of Spark and Bank, and the people are behind, heading. I guess it's south. I don't know the direction towards Slater Street. They go back about 1 to 2 blocks of people. So basically, Wellington Street is completely empty. The police have managed to come, so it goes Wellington and then Spark Street. So they have managed to keep Wellington clear, and they push the crowd all the way back. They managed to corral them in this little section over the day. So they've completely corralled the people into this area. Every other street except Spark Street has a fence across whatever side street it is, whether it be O'Connor or Kent Street or any of the other streets along Metcalf. There are fences that they put up. So this is the only one that doesn't have a fence. It still has a police line, and they're probably about 3 rows deep, and they've been bringing more. They do have 2. The last I checked, they had 2 of the what are those vehicles called? Just they're military-looking vehicles, black vehicles that could have had the LRAD in them, and I do know that they did use LRAD early this morning on the crowd, as well as tear gas. They did. There was a person when I first got up there, a guy that I've interviewed a bunch of times, and he's been around all the time. He was the guy you would see him because he had an Australian flag and a Canadian flag, and it was quite tall that it was on, and he had a small Canadian flag on the top. You couldn't miss him in the crowd. You always knew where. His name is Jacko. He's an Australian immigrant living in Toronto. He came up, and I was able to interview him, and he said that just before I got there, they had set off tear gas, and this was right at Wellington, right at the square at Wellington and Metcalf. They had set off tear gas as well as the LRAD. He said that his eardrum was still bothering him, and the tear gas obviously wasn't nice. They did set off tear gas when I was there. I happened to be lucky enough to get away from the crowd and get around the corner. They've been using pepper spray on people, throwing people to the ground. The aggression is still continuing with these militant type police officers. I mean, they're in riot gear, but they're militant police officers.
Yeah. And we are seeing, heavy use of force.
Yeah, like they've been clubbing people. Yeah.
Police issued a statement. I just put the tweet up from the Ottawa Police Service Twitter page accusing the protesters of attacking police.
And that's not happening. Verbal, I will say, they could say that they've been verbally attacked. There are the front line of people. There's often 1 or 2 what I call hacklers in the group that are saying things like, shame on you. How do you sleep at night? Did you forget your oath? You should be ashamed of yourself. Do you realize you are anti-Canadian? Things like that. So I guess they could see that as an attack, but as far as physical attack, absolutely not. The crowd will often chant shame, join us, things like that. And, when an entire crowd that size begins to chant, I suppose they could see that as threatening. The crowd does sing "O Canada," and it appears that every time they sing "O Canada," ironically, the police will act with more force. It's you almost know they're going to push and gain space. As soon as that crowd sings "O Canada," it's time to start backing up because they're going to push forward. So they must see that as an act of aggression.
Not surprising, since the Prime Minister seems to hate the country so much and hate the flag. And
Well, I
you know,
think these officers fall in line with that. They every time O Canada is sung, they use excessive force and come forward. I don't understand it, but I've been very impressed by these protesters because it's almost like the level of violence that these police officers are using and the level of aggression they're using. You would almost think they're trying to invoke, like trying to create violence. They're trying to, cause these protesters to become violent, like that, as though to give them an excuse to go full force. And they're just simply not doing it. And I believe that that's why they're still on a standoff here at, what is it, 8:30, 8 o'clock at night?
8:24 Eastern Standard Time, 8:24 p.m.
So this standoff has been going more than 24 hours.
That's amazing. I'm
impressed.
amazed to see that level of resolve from the people.
It's unbelievable.
Do you know if people have been like out all night, or did people just start?
I was watching feeds out of there through the night, and yes, there were people who were up there all night. The crowd was down, but I know that police heavily locked down the entire area to try to prevent more people from coming in. I also received word. I know that there's a group here. There's a group locally where I live, and they had organized the delivery of medical supplies up there. And they sent a medical team up, some nurses who have lost their jobs, just like you, because they decided not to get the thing in their arm. And there were two different groups. And the one group, I received an email today saying that they were stopped by police. And because they said they were going to be going downtown to deliver medical supplies, they were pulled out of their cars. One woman with no jacket on, thrown down in the snow, arrested, and taken away. Just for the crime of going to Ottawa and saying and telling the truth, saying they were going to go downtown to deliver medical supplies. So that's the email that I received. Don't have video of that. That was just the message. There was another group that also was taking supplies. Apparently, they managed to get through, and they got downtown. And we're there to set up a station of some kind to administer first aid to anybody that might need it.
And that's the kind of force you're seeing there. They seem to like to put a pretty good show on. And I don't understand the force because it's not like this crowd is pushing back. I don't know if they're being so forceful when they push someone on the ground for whatever reason they're doing it. They do it with such aggression and so much force. I personally feel that they're doing it to frighten the crowd, with hopes that the crowd will leave. But in fact, as you can see from this morning, what you saw through the night and what you saw in the morning, this crowd just keeps getting bigger. It's been growing all day. Now it has thinned out since I was there. I was there about 2 hours ago. It has thinned out from what I can see from this footage, but I don't know what's beyond this thinner crowd either. They could be tight against that line. It looks like the line's far away.
Are there many trucks down there?
No, there are not. Sadly, quite a few trucks actually voluntarily pulled out because with this Emergency Act, their licenses were being threatened, as well as their insurance, and some of them don't own their own truck, so they couldn't take that risk because it was their boss's truck. And so the bosses were like, get that truck out of there. So some truckers did voluntarily leave. Some I did not see any trucks being towed. However, that doesn't mean they weren't, because I did see some tow trucks. I did catch some footage of some of the truckers leaving and some of the four-wheel trucks, like pickup trucks leaving. And there was quite a crowd, thanking them and, crying and waving them off as they left, showing pride. So no, there are no trucks on any side streets that I can see. There is one truck, but apparently a counter protester had egged the truck, graffitied the truck, and slashed the tires on that truck. So that truck can't go anywhere. They can't tow it. The city's aware of it, and it's parked just up on Slater, a couple of streets west of Bank Street.
So not many trucks left there, if any.
No.
But the protest continues because the people are there.
And they're not leaving.
And more people came in this weekend to
Correct.
reinforce what was going on.
Correct.
In the face of all these threats.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have that kind of determination. Sorry, Brendan, go ahead.
Carla,
Looks like they got a fence up. Looks like they got their fence up and the police officers are on the other side of the fence. So that's what you're seeing at the other side streets too, like at Metcalf and at O'Connor. That's what you're seeing. So it looks to me like the police are on the other side of the fence now. So we don't have to worry about police aggression.
But if they're putting up fences like that, what's on the other side? What's on the back side of that? Is there another fence? Are they corralling people in, or what's going on?
As far
What's the
when
purpose?
Well, I mean, I can only assume, right? Just the way that they pushed the crowd. They started at the Rideau Center. Moved
So
them.
that's right by the Rideau Center, isn't it?
No, it is not.
No?
This is right. Nope. This is kind of at the end of where the trucks were parked on Wellington. So they pushed them all the way from the Rideau Center past Metcalf, which is where all the action was. That's where the crane stage was. And they moved them several blocks over, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 blocks to Bank Street and down towards Slater.
Right.
So they have corralled them in a sense. However, it doesn't, at the time that I was there 2 hours ago, they had not blocked them from behind. Now that I see that this fence up here, however, I believe that I would not be surprised if the police, I did see some police aligning themselves on Slater Street. I'm not sure that they're not going to go up and block them in that way and begin to arrest. I did see there were 3 big city buses that they had sitting with other police cars, assuming they were for arresting.
And again, Carla's been down there reporting from the scene. If you'd like to support our journalism, we'd greatly appreciate it. It helps, donations help us cover the costs of producing these broadcasts. And there is a hot link in the YouTube and Facebook descriptions that will take you directly to the donation page, or you can go to freedomreporters.com, freedomreporters.com. We're here trying to provide balance against the state-funded media. We are fighting the information war, and that's what we're here for. But it takes a lot of courage to do what you've been doing, Carla, down there today, on the front lines physically, as well as all these other people. It takes a lot of guts to stand there facing these cops. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that has been a real wind tunnel today. It's been probably equally challenging for the officers, but it's like when they do a pushback, when they're pushing to gain ground, it's frightening because the mob is the crowd is so thick. If you're in the middle of it, you've got to be able to be on your toes and know when they're going to move, because you have to move with them or you could fall and then potentially get trampled on. So it's constantly watching their faces, watching their actions, trying to be ahead of their game. And,
I saw a video today of the mainstream legacy media. They're all on the police side. And then all the independent journalists are with the people.
Yes.
I thought that was interesting. And I don't really see the mainstream media right now mingling with the public at all. It's like they're using the cops for protection.
Well, there were mainstream media in the crowd, more in the thinner area as you got, south of where the main crowd was and where the standoff was. There were mainstream media, and I will say that the crowd definitely hackled the media. There, you can see that this crowd absolutely does not trust mainstream media. Called them out, told them, why do you not tell the truth? Why are you lying? Why won't you report what's really happening? Why do you change everything?
Oh, and they take that as, oh, you're hurting our feelings. Oh, please stop with the assault. Can't handle it. My overeducated pompous arse is not capable of understanding what you're even talking about. I tell the truth every day.
Did you see I saw multiple times and I saw Global strategically located to get primo video of the cops from behind the cop position, right?
Right. It was City TV actually that was down with the crowd.
Yes, I
and
did see that
they
as well.
did take a lot of verbal opinions.
Abuse. Yeah. Well, that's
I
okay.
can't call it abuse. They were calling a spade, right?
Yeah. That's the thing, right? Like, I will never forget a highlight out of all of this is seeing all the video of people taking legacy media members who were out on the ground and saying, tell the truth. And then you captured that one moment where the Fox News reporter was on the ground surrounded by people, regular people, and they were all waving flags and cheering. And when she was done her broadcast, everybody started clapping and cheering like that.
Hugging her.
Yeah. That was a highlight of the moment. At the same time, CTV is taking the markings off of their band because people can't stand them.
Right.
But here you have Fox News sitting in the crowd of people.
Fox News has shown to have a high level of integrity. They're good in my books after this.
Are people talking much about the incident with the horses trampling those two people?
Oh my goodness, yes. The rumors that have been flying. As you know, last night when we were on the podcast, people were reporting, oh, the lady died. What disturbs me is that, many people forgot that there were actually two people affected by those horses.
Yes.
There was the lady, and if you watch that video and slow it down, you see that the lady who was with the walker, when the horses came around, she was simply knocked to the ground by a horse. Now, I'm not minimizing what happened to her. She was knocked over to the ground, but there was a gentleman right in the middle of it. And if you watch that video, the horse's hoof is on his head.
Yep.
He got trampled. She got knocked over. And there have been many people reporting, and apparently a niece of hers made a tweet stating that, listen, this is my aunt. She's okay. She's in the hospital receiving treatment for an injured collarbone, which makes sense.
Yeah.
If she fell, right?
I heard she had a dislocated shoulder as well.
Right. So she's had some injuries, and she is recovering. However, there's been no speak of the man, but clearly there had to be injury on that man. That horse's hoof was on his head. So there's speculation. People have talked that he, potentially is dead, but honestly, nothing has really been said or done about it. There's no way to prove what has happened to him, but you can closely look and know that he's injured.
And the police issued a statement saying that the two people involved got up and walked away and that they're unaware of any injuries.
They were both carried away. We saw that. They were both carried away.
Yeah, we watched that video like 5 times last night and then again today.
And Carla, they also, with regard to that bicycle, right? Police sort of retracted what they said. They said originally a bicycle had been thrown under the horse, that they had charged someone for injuring a police service animal, being the horse. But now they've issued another statement saying that they understand people are concerned about the incident, but that there was a bicycle thrown underneath the horse further down the line. But I saw a video today. There was a bicycle there, but it was over to the left-hand side. And in the video, you can clearly see that the guy never throws it. He's holding it in front of him, and the officers are pushing him and pushing him and pushing him, and he never lets go of it. And he never gets close enough to the horse for it to impede the horse's progress. So I'm sure that the cops have got to be aware of that footage. They had all kinds of officers on the scene who saw it firsthand, not to mention countless witnesses from the people if they care to talk to them. So it seems to me that issuing a statement like that after the fact at this point has got to be an outright fabrication and lie, just designed to cover the butts of the cops involved.
No, and the horse did in fact stumble when it knocked into the lady. Her walker went down, the horse stumbled over the walker and then stepped on the man.
Yeah.
Because he
So I'm
fell
sorry.
at the same time.
But if that crap goes to court, if that woman sues, if the other fellow who got trampled sues, all that's going to come out. They can't hide behind their PR fabricated BS this time, or a horse, you know what? Okay? The video doesn't lie.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
So sorry.
And I've also spoken to family members of people who were arrested last night. They sent me Facebook messages telling me, you know, my daughter was arrested last night. And they sent me pictures, photographs of her bruising. They beat her, and she was in the front line. And I guess she was telling them, you know, trying to remind them of their oath. And they just became aggressive with her, knocked her onto the ground. They handcuffed her, took her out of the city about 25 minutes, never really handed her any paperwork, didn't really appear to have arrested her, just kind of dropped her.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's about.
Well, I mean, if you hear the same story twice, that's the second time we've heard that tonight. So it really wouldn't surprise me if they are taking people and just dropping them outside the city. You're on your own.
And and like I've heard that from multiple people. Another one, it was her sister, same basic story, except her sister hadn't been beaten. I mean, and then, so no one really knows still what happened to Chris Barber and Tamara Lynch. Nobody really knows what's happened to them. And they were the ones that were arrested in a very peaceful manner before any of this aggression started.
Well, there are reports about his court appearance. He says, apparently, the media reports say that he said in court that his organizing days are over and he just wants to put this behind him now. Chris Barber. And he's been told to leave the Ottawa area, and I think he was given 24 hours to get out of Ottawa and 7 days or something to get out of Ontario.
Oh, he's not from Ontario.
He had a bail. He was bailed, I think. You're right. Tamara Lynch, I'm not sure. Benjamin Dichter?
Yep.
What the hell happened to that guy? And the video that you had played of from
Jeremy
the veteran
McKenzie,
there,
the veteran,
he said, "Where the hell is he?" And I wanted to talk about that last night, but things moved too progressively. We kind of missed it. He disappeared off the face of the planet. I'm pretty sure he has made tweets saying he's left the area or something.
Yep.
There was word that apparently Pat King was arrested too. What's happened with that?
It's on the Ottawa Police website. I'll bring it up. He's been charged with 3 different counts of mischief, like conspiracy to commit mischief. And
I've got another video here that I think people would like to see. And this is of a veteran. I'm just going to dump out of this, and I'll get your comments on this. Some veterans and military personnel who have shown their support for the convoy are being investigated.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just cue this up for you.
I have to go check on something. I'm babysitting
Sure.
my sister's dog this week.
Okay, let me just find this here. This is a video from a veteran. His name is James Top. And he speaks out on this issue. And as a result, I guess he's in a little bit of trouble, and he's among a number of different veterans who are now being investigated. And well, I'm just going to let this roll because people can then kind of draw their own conclusions from what they're about to see.
My name is James Top. I'm a warrant officer. I served in the regular army for over 25 years. I transferred to the reserves. I got a job with the public service working for the RCMP. I was placed on leave without pay, and I am in the process of being released from the armed forces. I am not authorized to wear this uniform right now. I accept full responsibility for what I am doing and what I am saying. and I am willing to suffer the consequences. This is hard for me. I may suffer repercussions for what I'm doing right now by wearing this uniform out in public. But something needs to be said, and I think I speak on behalf of a lot of people when I say enough is enough. I do not speak on behalf of the Canadian Armed Forces or the regiment that I have served with. But I want to honor them, and I need to wake them up. I do not like the direction that this country is going. I disagree with the government imposing mandates on us. I am not here to speak on behalf of any political organization or group. I am here for me. I am here for the people of this country. It's the people of this country who work for a living that make this country run. I work for them. I also am here to pay my respect to the veterans of this country that have given their lives and their limbs and their minds in the service of this country. I am doing this for them as well. So this is my message. We as Canadians, all Canadians, need to stand up for what we believe in. First Nations, immigrants, and the people that were born here. This country is ours. It is not the property of the moneyed few. There are people out there who risk their lives every day. They're truck drivers, they're construction workers, they put the power lines up, they lay the telephone lines that enable us to communicate with each other. I'm here for them. I put this uniform on for them to defend this country. So I want everybody to know what I intend to do as a form of protest against overbearing government mandates is to march from Vancouver to Ottawa on foot, under my own power, and on my own dime. This is peaceful, this is constructive, this is setting an example for anyone that they have the power to stand on their own 2 feet and make their voices heard. If they have a problem, they have the right to do that. Am I afraid? Yes, absolutely I am. But I'm going to work through it. I am not encouraging lashing out with violence, with coarse language, with profanity. I am not making inflammatory statements to any person or group. I want us all to come together, everyone, to recognize what we have in this country. And that's the freedom to speak out and disagree and make our voices heard. I disagree with what the government is doing right now with citizens of this country who have chosen to go to Ottawa and make their voices heard. It's time to reach out with an open hand and not a raised fist. So on the 20th of February, I am leaving from Vancouver and I am marching to Ottawa. I've not always got along with the people that I work with, and I've said the wrong things and not acted in ways that were professional. I just want them to know that. And if they want to reach out to me, I would love to hear from them. If what I am doing is offending you, then I apologize. But something needs to be done. I have spent the last 2 years sitting back, saying nothing, and our time is done. It's time for me to do something in support of Canadians, in support of soldiers. Being a soldier isn't just about taking up arms, it's about mobilizing your inner resources to do something and make a stand, and not just that, to march forward. And that's what I'm going to do. I serve this country by putting the uniform on. I've regained the pride in this uniform and what it means. And that flag right there. But any of my brothers and sisters in uniform, why I am here is I want you to understand that you have a right to make yourself heard as well. I'm proud of everybody that came down here. I am proud of everybody who is holding a flag. And if you want to support me, I welcome it. But if you want to insult me, twist my words and my message, that's your right. If you want to hate me, that's your right too. You have the right to your own opinion. So say what you're going to say, and I'm going to say what I'm going to say.
That's an inspiration. Yeah. That's exactly what we need right now. That's exactly what we need right now.
The level of disrespect our government is given to these veterans.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. And I used to live in a community on the Trans-Canada Highway, and I'm familiar with people who have made cross-country treks from Vancouver to out east. It's not an easy feat.
No.
So that's tomorrow.
Yes.
And I think we need to reach out to James Top and talk to him. And
we should
check
follow
that.
him.
We definitely should.
And you know what? It may take a few weeks or a few months, but when he lands in Ottawa, he's not going to be alone.
No.
I hope not.
No, he won't.
I'm going to go cover it. It's my second home, this place now. Been here almost a month, 22 days.
I think there will be an effort undertaken to try to stop him. And he's already being investigated and is facing reprimands, apparently. And as I understand it, I have not watched the reports, but some of the legacy media have already started a smear campaign against him. And other vets and active military personnel who have expressed similar points of view. And cancel culture and this un-Canadian crackdown on people who disagree with Justin Trudeau just seems to grow. But I'll tell you this, after watching that, I felt a little more hope again.
Yeah, the Ottawa Citizen reported, how many days ago was this? I've seen this article before. 5 days ago. And they said about James, the Canadian Forces has launched an investigation into the actions of Warrant Officer James Top, a reservist from BC. Said Sunday, Top posted a video noting he is marching to Ottawa to protest against requirements for federal employees to have vaccine against COVID-19. Top noted he had served with the Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry and is being booted from the military for his failure to follow orders from Defense Chief General Wayne Earn on being vaccinated. Top said he works as a civilian for the RCMP but is on leave without pay because I will not change my vaccination status. So that seems to be the background on him, and they will run their investigation on him.
That, these are very, very difficult times. And this is a war. And these people are fighting tonight James Topp is fighting. And even though tonight I've said that Canada is falling and that the country that we've known is being lost tonight because of the actions of these police officers and the actions of our government, even as our rights and freedoms have been stripped away and we're really left with none tonight, I still feel there is hope. Thanks to people like James Topp and all of the people who have been down there, including you, Carla, fighting the information war on the physical front line, putting yourself at risk, weathering that cold, minus 30 at sometimes, plus wind chill. It's been brutal, a brutal month.
Oh, especially for a person who never leaves her house in the winter. It's been a challenge, but it's been a good challenge. I've learned a lot, and it is so important to get the truth out. I mean, if there weren't people on the ground with cell phones or whatever recording device they had, no one would know the truth. I mean, look at what mainstream media has done. You know,
they just. And that being said, I'll bring up the banner. I'll bring up the banner again. freedomreporters.com. Support us. Support Carla. Support the independent journalists out there. Support what we're doing so we can continue to provide these broadcasts so that even after this is swept away by police this weekend, we can continue to cover James Topp so that we can continue to provide coverage of everything that's going to come after this as people fighting for freedom continue to do just that. Fight for freedom, fight for Canada. We'll continue to fight on the information front. Fight this information war. This is a war for people's minds, not their hearts. We'll fight for the hearts, I guess, and the minds. But the government has been engaged in this sort of psychological warfare. They've been using psychographic data, using public relations firms, colluding with big tech, and they've been paying off the legacy media to spread their propaganda. We're the other end of that. We're now fighting. After 30 years in the media business, I'm out of semi-retirement and I'm doing this. I'm back. Worked for CTV for a long time. Quit because of what I saw was going on, but now I'm teamed up with these guys and we're going to try to make a difference by fighting the information war and practicing the new journalism to counterbalance what's going on with the state-funded media. Carla's incurring many expenses being up there in Ottawa, and it's costing us money to put these broadcasts on. If you can find it in your heart to help us, support what we're doing, and support what we are about to do, because we have plans to expand what we are doing here, expand this operation, and we can do it. But we need your help. We need your help. And so does James Topp. Seek him out. I'm going to make contact with him, and we're going to provide coverage of James Topp as he leaves Vancouver tomorrow. I'm going to make every effort to try and tap into a feed that he's providing or find out where he is or how we can talk to him. And we're going to follow him as he makes his journey across the country. If you can support us, we greatly appreciate it. To those of you who have already donated, thank you. Thank you. Canada, we've lost Canada tonight, the Canada that we've known. But all these people down there, we're with them in the sense that we're going to fight on the information front and we're going to try and bring Canada back.
Not only that, the information front is going to get worse. I mean, in Ontario, we have an election coming up, and there's going to be things flinging around here soon enough that I am so concerned about what's going to be coming up, and a lot of the baloney that's going to get flung at the people, I think that this will probably be one of the most sensitive elections that Ontario has had in ages.
It's not just that, too. The implications are much broader. Our politicians are poised to go to war in Ukraine. They want to send our young men and women to Ukraine to fight and die. And we need to understand the issues surrounding that in more detail. That's another big issue that is upon us right now, and it's not getting the scrutiny that it deserves. And I think it needs more investigation. And I'm concerned that the public is going to be lied to again as we face that challenge. And there are others. And this, here in Ottawa, many of the people here are going to be facing court challenges, legal bills, smear campaigns, attempts by government to freeze all of their assets. Not attempts, they're just going to do it.
Yep.
Justin Trudeau is going to be targeting his political enemies, and we're going to be fighting on that front as well.
They already are.
Yeah.
They already are freezing those assets.
Yes, everyone's just... And as we heard tonight, Senator in New Mexico offering political asylum to Canadians.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, when have we ever heard anything like that? It shows you where we have come, where we are at tonight. The alarm bells are going off, and people need to listen. It's beyond time for an alarm bell. The country has been lost. We need people on the front lines to do something about it.
And we need people to represent actual people and not ideologues or ideologies that are being put forward by political think tanks.
And we need to do it peacefully and democratically. That's what we need to do. Peacefully and democratically.
Mm-hmm.
We need new government. And to get that, we need to find a way to elect the right people in the right way. That's what needs to be done. There has to be a political solution to this.
Big time.
And we're here to do our part by providing ethical, new journalism. New journalism. Not the old school stuff, new journalism. Ethical and truthful. And I'll explain more about what I mean by the new journalism in future broadcasts. But that's going to be my objective here. So again, one more time, if you can support us, freedomreporters.com, or click the link to the donation page in the YouTube description or the Facebook description. Greatly appreciate any help you can give us. We're going to continue to bring you these live feeds from Ottawa, where the protesters, amazingly, at 9:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight, February 19th, 2022, they're still there. These Canadian citizens are still there in the face of a war that has been launched upon them by their own prime minister. What are you doing tonight? What are you doing tonight at home to help?
I will say that I commend these Canadians. I've been in the thick of it for 22 days, and I'm just going to just kind of quickly recap what I saw. I saw Canadians standing up. Canadians who came there were very low on Canadian pride. They had no patriotism when they came here. When they arrived and they gathered in unity, the patriotism was through the roof. They stood strong. They stood together. They stood peacefully in joy and love and in unity. They built friendships. They formed a family to replace the family that they lost. These Canadians are powerful and they are strong and they aren't giving up. I'll be interested to see what happens in the coming weeks with these Canadians.
Thoughts, Brendan?
I'm not giving up anything either. I've given up so much over the past 2 years. I'm no longer a ploy for the government to make sacrifices for. I'm not sacrificing anything to the government gods. I'm going to be right alongside you guys. I'm going to continue to tell the truth, seek the truth, and always look for the path of least resistance, which is always less government and more people.
Well, here's my message to the Prime Minister. Go ahead. Do what you're going to do. You've brought your goons. You turned the cops into your own personal paramilitary force. You sent thousands of officers in riot gear armed with guns, tear gas, pepper spray, and a long-range acoustic device to bombard people with sonic waves that can leave them with permanent hearing damage and other physical injuries potentially. You attacked your own people. You've declared war on them. And you attacked them physically. People who for the better part of a month have been completely peaceful. People who, even in the face of your violence, stood their ground peacefully. People who, in spite of being smeared, insulted, and lied about, people you called Nazis and fascists, Canadians that you've called racist, they stood there in peace. And you know what they did? They sang the national anthem and waved Canadian flags, and they took it. Like they've taken your abuse for over 2 years. Abuse, psychological and now physical. So go ahead, keep it up.
Not only that, they laid flowers.
We will
at the
not.
feet of it.
We will not give up.
Can I just add that the also last night when the police army, that's what I call them, when they were becoming aggressive, these Canadians took a knee. They went down on their knees in front of these soldiers or in front of these police officers, only to have them continue with more force and more violence. It was absolutely disgraceful.
We're not going to give up. They're not going to give up. We're going to fight on the information front. And I guarantee you, you might have the country right now. You might have captured it. And you might have even done it in a sort of a democratic way, using your psyops and your psychographs and your carefully crafted PR campaigns and your psychological abuse, which you used to manipulate people and get them to vote for you by dividing the country and filling people's hearts with hate. But we're going to combat that just the way all these people have been combating it. We're going to do it with truth and with love. And we're going to pray for you. We're going to pray that you're okay and that somehow, somewhere deep down inside, you find some compassion and some piece of you that hasn't been corrupted, some piece of you that is still Canadian.
Even the Grinch had the opportunity to turn around.
It's never too late to do the right thing.
No, it's not.
And that doesn't mean getting quadruple jabbed. That's not what I'm referring to. It's never too late to do the right thing. With that being said, guys, how much longer do you think this is going to last? Is this going to last through the night?
I think these people are going to stand their ground. I think they will thin, and I believe the police will. This is again just. I mean, obviously, I don't have any inside information. Just judging by the police and the amount of police that are there. See, at one point, I think the people outnumbered the police. The police are waiting to outnumber the people. I think they're going to get rid of the last few stragglers throughout the night. In the morning, my plan is to wake up and take a walk and get as far as I can, get some footage to see who's there, what's happening, to see if they're still holding the line. But I'm going to be very honest. I won't be surprised to find it empty with the fencing up and police guarding the fencing.
So this is the last stand in Ottawa. The battle looks like it's going to be lost, but the war continues. The war continues because Justin Trudeau declared war on his own people, and he took the war to the people. He took the violence to the people.
And the people stood in love, peace, and unity.
And that is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth.
So in some ways, I really feel that they have won. They learned a lot of things. People were healed. People talked to me about how they'd been healed. People talked to me about how they finally felt patriotic, felt Canadian, were proud to be Canadian again. People formed relationships. People learned what it was to give to others in the way that they shared food, shared meals, hugs. That's a win. That in itself. And not to mention, this entire thing has been on display for the whole world to see. The world has been watching. And I think we're going to see things come out of that. We already are seeing things. So though Justin Trudeau has won with his goons and his violence to shut down Ottawa, I don't think he can shut down the movement. So there are some wins.
Big time.
Well, guys, it's 9:10. I will monitor the feeds out of here through the night. And if possible, I will come back on live if there are major developments or if it looks like we're getting to the end of this to update people and let folks know what's going on. So we're going to monitor this and just try to keep tabs on it for you through the night.
And I'll be on in the morning again on live too, just to see what kind of the aftermath is. And
so yeah, we'll be keeping you updated. And of course, we will be back here tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with our regular broadcast. So if you haven't yet, subscribe, like, share, ring the notification bell so that you don't miss those broadcasts. It helps us grow the channel and it helps us get the message out, to get this other perspective out, this as much unedited, uncensored, raw video as we can. And then we provide the analysis and perspective and commentary. And if you like what we're doing, please make sure you subscribe, and we'll do our best to keep you informed. And with that, I'll throw it off to Brendan to kind of wrap things up on his end.
Well, it's been a crazy journey to see everything that's been happening, and we're going to be delivering more of that to you. My name is Brendan Kennedy, and I'm the host of the Flow of Discourse podcast in conjunction with Maverick News. Thanks for watching.
And I'm Carla Olson. I've been on the ground in Ottawa, and it's been an absolute privilege and honor to bring the truth and to be in this environment.
And I'm Rick Walker with Maverick Multimedia and Maverick News, and it's an honor to serve with you on the front lines of the information war, Carla and Brendan. And it's also our privilege to provide these broadcasts to you, everyone out there watching. We greatly appreciate your support, and we will be back tomorrow night with more live coverage from the nation's capital. You've been watching Freedom Convoy 2022 cruising to the Capitol. See everyone tomorrow night, 6 p.m. And if there's more to be reported, you'll receive a notification if you've subscribed. And we will try to keep you updated. Catch everyone on the flip side tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks again for